Okay,
Dead silent.
we're live. There's 4 of us. It's a quorum.
No way.
And it's Friday. It's not even Monday. So.
It's Friday. You ain't got no job. You ain't got shit to do.
Oh,
John, I see you're using the AirPods.
I am. Okay, I wasn't gonna jump right into the story, but I have to tell you guys a story. So it starts with me doing a video on why I don't believe in coincidences. When I was literally in Boise and I was running, and I'll make this story short, but my friend from Boise, Boise is a fairly big city. It's like 300,000-400,000 people. I was thinking when I was running that I was going to see him the other day, and then I was running this the next day, and I'm running against this one little strip of the green belt where there's actually a road, and this Jeep pulls up, or this car pulls up, and my friend was there. He's like, "Hey, John Sonmez," right? He didn't even know I was in Boise, right? And it was the guy, right? So I was like, man, this is crazy. I don't know if I willed this into being, or if somehow I got a premonition or something. Out of all the people, right? So this was kind of nuts. And I actually recorded a video while I was running talking about this, and I got a ton of downvotes on this video. People were like, "Oh, you need to read Nicholas Taleb's, this is just the law of big numbers. It's a confirmation bias, but all the pop sci stuff," right? And like preaching to me as if I don't read fucking 200 books a year or whatever, right? I've seen every single psychological study. I know this stuff, right? So instead of doing a video of explaining away, I did another video called "I still don't believe in coincidence," or something like that. And I said, and the very first thing I said in the video is, "I'm fucking doubling down on this shit." Right? I was like, "You guys are downvoting it. I don't care if you like this shit or not. I am doubling down on my position here." And so I went into it more, and I explained, because it happens to me all the time. In the last year, I've talked to you guys about this, and you might think I'm crazy, but honestly, stuff manifests. I think about stuff and it happens, right? It's and just weird random encounters where I'll just randomly run into someone, and it's I feel like there's I'm being guided on a path. It's crazy stuff. Every time that I go to a conference or something, I always have some kind of crazy story about some kind of bizarre crazy coincidence, right? So I stopped believing in coincidence. There's some reason for everything. I don't know. And I talked about how the universe is probably connected, and it makes sense that there's something we just don't understand, and how everything is all part of one web. So I know, pretty woo-woo shit. But anyway, to get to the AirPods, right? So I interviewed Noah Kagan, okay, about was it 3 years ago, or not 3 years, 3 weeks ago, okay, and I'm talking to him, and and he says, "Oh, by the way, give me your address, and I'm going to send you something that you'll like. It'll be nice, okay?" And so this was 3 weeks ago. Now, about 4 days ago, I normally run with wireless Bluetooth headset while I'm running, and I lost mine. Okay, and so I'd washed it, and so it was broken. So 2 days ago. Okay, so
John would have been the customer from hell for me from when I worked at Radio Shack. He would have bought the $395 extended service warranty, and he would have brought those stupid headphones in every 3 weeks and made my life.
Never buy warranties, but yeah. But okay, so anyway, so I was like, oh crap. So I'm using stupid blue earbuds with wire, and it's I'm trying to learn Italian, and I'm trying to stop it while I'm running, pushing the button on there. So much easier to just tap on the. So anyway, I'm like, well, you know what? Maybe it's about time to those AirPods. I know Josh had those AirPods, right? So about 2 days ago, I'm online, I'm searching for AirPods. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna try the AirPods. So I try to order them. I go to Amazon, it's 4 weeks shipping. So and then I went to Best Buy, it's 4 weeks shipping. And so nowhere I couldn't get them. You can't buy them right now, right? You can't just immediately go and get them. So I was like, oh crap, well, what am I gonna do? I'm just whatever. Yesterday, a package comes in the mail, right? I haven't told anyone that I need earbuds or you know, that I need a wireless headset. And I definitely didn't tell Noah. And I interviewed him 3 weeks ago. Okay. Package comes in the mail. My wife is like, what is this? What is this package? And I'm like, I don't know. Actually, there's one person I told that I wanted to get Apple AirPods, and that was my wife. That's the only person I told. Okay. And so, so I open up the package, and I don't even know who it's from. And I open it up, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And there's this box, and I'm like, those are AirPods. What the fuck? And my wife looks at it, she's like, how the fuck did you do that? Because she knows, because this happens all the time to me, right? This is like, it's like crazy. She's like, you did it again. You manifested it. Like, you must have told him. So basically, yes, I manifested AirPods again. And Noah's a pretty fucking awesome guy that after interviewing me, he you know, sends me a gift and a nice gift. Really, I mean, that's a pretty awesome gift. So there you go. So
similar thing happened to me this week. About a week ago, we were out of the conditioner that I use for my daughter's hair, and it's a specific one that we can't get in our store, so I ordered off of Amazon. Well, it showed up Wednesday afternoon or something like that, and my wife got the box from the doorstep, opened it up, and looked at it and went, "What the hell? I literally just ordered these 2 hours ago." Not realizing that I had already ordered them, she went ahead and ordered some. Nice. And thought that Amazon got them to our house in 2 hours.
Hey, that drone delivery.
Exactly. But no, stuff like that used to happen to me all the time too. It probably has happened to me recently as well. But I can tell you with very distinct memories that. Am I gone?
No.
Chuck gone?
You're good now.
Yeah.
Okay. So there are a number of times in high school where I would be thinking, oh man, I should go hang out with my friend Andy. And I would pick up the phone and start dialing it, and I would hear, hello?
Yeah.
And it would be my friend Andy.
Nice.
I mean, we've done that to each other a countless number of times.
And people chalk this up. I mean, like I said, like in the video I was talking about, it's like they chalk it up to the law of large numbers and all this, you know, survivorship bias or confirmation bias and all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, okay, I get all of that math, but you know what? I don't care what anyone says. When fucking AirPods show up on your I understand all of the psychology behind it and all of the mathematics behind it. Like, you're still not convincing me that there's not some kind of woo-woo force in the universe that binds everything together and that my mind is making shit happen, because the weirdest thing about this is how hard is it to believe that your mind can make shit happen, because nothing happens in your life without your mind making it happen. Just to move your hand requires your mind to make it happen, right? I mean, what really is there that much of a difference to believe? You know, it's bizarre that, to me, it's bizarre that we think that it's that it's not possible at all. I mean, the guy that invented radio communication, right? Up until that point, that was crazy, right? I mean, seriously, like they locked him up because he was nuts. They thought he was nuts because he was sending messages through the air. But hell, I mean, we all do it now. So I don't know. It's just funny that I was a skeptic at one point, but then I read The Power of Now, and now I'm crazy woo woo.
Oh.
So I hear tale of some other interesting things that have happened with Simple Programmer, and
oh my goodness!
And I need to know whether or not I should pull my webinar video out of the bundle.
I guess. All right. I guess I'll launch into that story then.
Yeah, this is going to be the John Sonmez.
This is the John ranting episode.
Yes. Sit down, little children, and I will tell you a story. Story time. Okay. So we launched at Simple Programmer with JavaScript Launchpad, right? You guys are probably familiar with it, right? We had an author. I'm actually not going to say his name because his name is Bubba. But anyway, we had an author. who we had commissioned to create a course for us, right? And the idea was this: is like, okay, in order to scale up, like I can't be creating all the content. We need to go to the publisher model, right? This was the idea, and so we're going to pay a percentage commission and essentially white label things. Like, so you come to us, we'll publish the course. We've got the audience, we've got the marketing expertise. We'll you just build the course, and we know how to create the email sequences, landing pages, all that stuff, right? So we essentially did that with this JavaScript Launchpad course. This was our first try at this, and we hired an author. I looked at his videos, like in the outline that he submitted, and it looked good. Like it wasn't perfect, but it looked good. It was like, okay, yeah, we could definitely do this. And he seemed really excited about it, enthusiastic. So, Josh worked on this. Josh actually hired another guy that was working with us, Dan, that was doing like under Josh doing the marketing, like learning how to do the email. So he did a ton of work on this, right? And so, the idea was for it to be as much as possible, myself and Josh hands off, so we could eventually like, churn out this machine of publishing content, right? And so this was all good in concept. And we did the launch, right? So we did the launch. And I made a boo-boo on the launch, which was that I spot checked the videos that came out, right? And they looked okay, they sounded okay, right? But it wasn't perfect, but I was like, okay, this is fine. This is, a JavaScript course, whatever. And as soon as we did the launch, and we did okay. I think we did like 20 something thousand.
About 20K.
And as soon as that we sold the stuff, we started getting emails, people saying that the course quality is crap and they want refunds. So I was like, oh shit. So I go back and I watched the entire course, and Josh did too, and we're like, oh yeah, it was pretty rough. It was pretty bad. Like, especially the beginning. It got better at the end, but the beginning was just edited bad. The sound quality was bad. Some of the video was wrong resolution.
The sound was really scratchy.
Oh man.
The video quality, the video editing was bad in that, like, it was, well, at one point it was too slow, and so John told him to take out some of the
dead space,
try to take out some of the dead space, and he clipped it to the point where his sentences were like tripping over each other, and it was actually hard to follow because he was talking so fast and there was no break between any of the sentences. And then there were places where he like repeated like whole sentences and didn't chop that out, and it was just it was pretty rough.
Yeah, so I got actually on a call with him, and Josh talked to him too, and we kind of went over, okay, but this is a salvageable situation, right? Like, we
were also getting complaints about the content itself a little bit, and that, like, because people were watching the first video, couple of videos, they were like, wow, this quality is terrible, and then now he's like defining a variable, like, what is this crap? Like, this is like baby stuff.
And there was like a rhyme and reason to it, so I did an intro video because I watched the whole course at this point, and I was like, okay, I see what's going on here. We're starting at the very, very base, like building blocks, just to make sure you understand the core concepts, because JavaScript is different, right? I mean, like the way that it works, you may think just general stuff in programming languages, but there's a lot of I mean, obviously, Derek, you know it better than me, but like building that base foundation of making sure that you actually understand the base, and then getting up to the complex. I saw that was the approach. That's not the approach I usually take when I do a course. I do it more like building something and building on it. But I saw it, so I made an intro video explaining this and saying, okay, so that would be the first thing people see, so they're ready. Because at least if they're ready, if they know this is what, okay, we're going to start at the very basics. This might be like real basic stuff for you, but we're going to get up to the point where you're going to create an actual framework and whatnot. So anyway, I did that. We had back and forth, and then we're I think it was Friday, like 2 weeks ago. Josh and I are on Slack, and Josh is really expressing his non-confidence in the latest.
Yeah, so we continued to get. So we sold like around 100 copies or 110 copies or so at the launch, and then we kept getting the kicks in the nuts, like every day or two. We'd get like a couple more refunds and I think it got to the point where we were close to we were over a 10% refund rate, which is really high for us. I mean, like, normally our refund rate is like 2%.
Exactly, yeah.
And so like meanwhile, like, I'm going back and forth with Eric poor Rodrigo, every time we do this, poor Rodrigo has to re-edit the videos to add our branding and stuff to it. So he's re-added branding to it like 2 or 3 times now. We're on version 2 where Eric went through and was supposed to Bubba went through and was supposed to fix everything and didn't. And I'm listening to it, and John's like in an airport somewhere, and I'm like listening to all these videos, and I'm like wanting to scream. I'm like, this is I can't even follow this. It's the pacing's terrible. The audio quality is a little better, but the editing's just as bad as it was before. Like I don't know what to do about this. So I emailed John, or I Slacked John. I was like, I don't know what we're going to do about this.
And I had my handful of something. I didn't want to deal with this anymore. I was like, oh, come on, let's just, right. And so I'm like, all right, fine. I'll pull up the transcript. I'm like, so my thought at that point was like, maybe I can just re-record this. Maybe I can take the transcripts and I can do it the right way. And I can just like knock it out in an afternoon or 2 afternoons. And I own the course anyway. So who cares, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like I've got we own the rights is how we did it. And so I was like, oh, maybe I'll do that. And so I'm looking at that. It's a good thing I didn't actually, because about later that evening, I got this email from this guy, Tony, right? And the email basically says like, you stole my course. And it's actually worded pretty nicely. I mean, considering the content, but he's basically like, look, I have this course here. And he pointed me to the link of the course. It was on Udemy, and he's like, I know you probably didn't do this intentionally because I looked at you've got a huge YouTube, and like why would you like rip off someone's course? But you stole my course and copied it to take it down, essentially, right? That was basically
the subject line was, my course has been pirated and is for sale on your website.
Yeah. Okay.
This was like a Sunday night. And John text messaged me. I saw it in the morning. I didn't see it right away. I had a text message from John. John never uses text messaging. And he's like, how do he wanted like the transcripts or something. He's like, how do I get the transcripts?
I want to know if you had Bubba's phone number.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
So, well, okay. So, but I get emails like this occasionally, right? And so I was like, my first reaction to this was bullshit. We didn't copy your course. Let me tell you why we didn't copy your course. Like, because I hired this guy to make this course. He sent me an outline. He sent me a demo video. He recorded it. I know what he sounds like. I saw his face on the video, on the intro video that he did. He recorded this course. There's no way he stole your course and pirated it, right? That's I didn't say that, but that was my initial reaction. But I was like, you know what? I should investigate this just to be sure, right? So he gave me a coupon to get his course off of Udemy. So I get his course, right? And I listened to some of it, and I'm like, okay, this is similar. I look at the outline, and I'm like, okay, there's more actually on this course. And then I was like, and the outline does look similar, but you know what? Maybe he copied the outline, or like, I mean, what are you going to say about JavaScript? Like if you're teaching JavaScript from the ground up, it's going to be pretty much, I mean, you're going to cover the same kind of shit, right? So anyway, I'm like, okay, here's what I'll do. So I pull up the module that's the same name. It's like module 3 something. And I pull up the transcripts that we have of our course, our JavaScript Launchpad course, right? So I got the transcript here. I got Tony's video. And the first thing I noticed, by the way, when I listened to Tony's course, I was like, oh, damn. This is good. Like, it sounds great. It sounds great. The edits are awesome. The visuals are awesome. He's like, the way he delivers it is with confidence and like he actually authored this course, right? and so anyway, so I've got his video up. I've got the transcripts up, and I'm listening to it. And I'm reading along with the transcripts, and I'm like, well, fuck me. Because it is like word for word, right? Word for word. Like not even paraphrased. Man, I'm like, what the hell? So, I mean, there's like a few things. In fact, there's some sentences that are left out that are necessary for context, right? So it's like, it's like a shitty attempt of doing word for word. So I was like, oh man, I can't believe he screwed me. I can't believe this guy screwed me. He just took my reputation, flushed it down the fucking toilet, right? And then I look at the Udemy course, and the guy, Tony's got 75,000 students for this course. So I'm like, how could you think you're getting away with this? There's no way that someone isn't going to notice that you totally ripped off a course, right? Like, this is just stupid, right? Like, it just, I was just blown away, right? So that was my first immediate reaction, right?
Well, one of the things, so Tony, in his email to us, he said, one of the things he said was, there's a screenshot of the course, which I made the screenshot. I just pulled up one of the videos and I just like screen grabbed the slide with some code on it to make it look interesting. We stuck it in the product shot, like the 3D product shots that we make. And he said, if you look at the code in that, it says, "Hello, Tony." So the author didn't even like go in. What he did was he copied the slides. He went through and recreated the slides with a different colored background, and he copied the code that was on the slides verbatim. Like didn't even change the examples. And not only that, but the live coding portions of the course were actually the recording from the Udemy version. So he didn't even record his own like live coding.
Oh my God.
So as we're piecing this together, all kinds of pieces are clicking into place for me. Like the difficulty of going back and forth and getting these edits done. Like this guy, he must have had the craziest, like in Camtasia, he must have had like 30 different tracks that he was trying to sync up, and soundtracks and like all the amount of work that went into doing this is insane.
Yeah, it was just
That's
like I was like,
hilarious.
am I actually in Bizarro Land? Am I actually taking crazy pills right now? Because this is insane. Like, I cannot believe this is happening to me, right? Like, this just, it doesn't seem logical. So finally, like I said, my initial reaction was somewhat of, this guy's screwing me. But then, being the namaste guy that I am, and actually it's funny because Josh had the similar, right? But immediately the next thing that came into my mind was, how can I turn this around and make this good, right? Because I was like, okay, there's maybe an opportunity here. So what I did was I immediately emailed Tony back, and I had emailed him before, and I was like, I'll check it out, right? Because this was a serious accusation. And then so I immediately emailed him back. This is Sunday night, and I gave him my phone number, and I was like, give me a call, right? So he gives me a call, and I'm like, man, sorry. Like, I did not do this on purpose. I had no idea. I was like, when you emailed me, I was like, there's no way. This is bullshit. And then I checked it out. I said, like, and I was like, and by the way, I told him, I was like, you delivered the course awesome. Like, your course was just freaking, it's awesome. You're great. Like, you're honestly are really good. And so he was very gracious. He's an awesome guy, by the way, and he basically was like, yeah, he actually was apologizing to me. He's like, yeah, I'm sorry this happened to you. And I was like, no, trust me. This is 100% my fault, my responsibility. Like, but so then I was like, I said, hey, there's something good that may come out of this, which is, I said, well, what is your interest? Like, what do you think about if we actually took your real course and replaced the copy of your course, the reenactment of your course, right? What if we replace that with the real one? Okay, and we would I'd be able to give you money right away, because we said, we wouldn't have to process, hopefully, as many refunds, and it'll be better, right? So for the customers, it'll be better because they'll be getting your course. You'll be getting exposure to our audience, and you have other courses, so maybe we can promote some of your other courses and stuff. We'll have a hell of a fucking story. I mean, it's a crazy ass story, right? Like, this is an awesome marketing story, I suppose, right? So we'll have this crazy story, and we'll just pay you commission, and like, you can do it. And so he's like, oh, well, let me think about it, and let's set up a meeting. So I think we set up a meeting for the next day, and I got Josh on the call, and we talked to Tony again. He's just an awesome guy. He's actually made a bunch of money on the Udemy courses, and then is doing volunteer work, and that's what he's saying. So he's actually like full-time doing volunteer stuff. So he doesn't really want to bother with the course stuff, which was perfect, because we're like, well, this is what we're doing, is that we're essentially, you just give us the content, and we'll take care of all the marketing and everything, and just give you a check, right? And so we talked to him about it, and he said, yeah, this sounds good. Send me over the contract. So we sent him over the contract, the same one that, you know, basic deal that we had with Bubba. And we were able to say, like, and we'll pay you up, you know, you immediately would get money right from this. And you can, you know, if it doesn't work out, you can discontinue it. And he signed it, and we're good to go. And so, as I told Josh, we turned shit into shiitake. It turns out to be good. It'll actually be better for everyone involved. Honestly, like, it'll be better for us because we had the headache of trying to deal with this course that needed a lot of work. And what are we going to, like, do we pull this course? Now we've got a brilliant course, an awesome course, like really high quality content.
Yeah, it's 3 times longer.
Yeah, 3 times longer.
Yeah.
And then for Tony, he gets the benefit because he now gets to sell more of his course on another platform, and a good business relationship, right? We've got and then for our customers, it's a no-brainer win situation for them because they're going to get something way higher quality. I also am going to give them like 50% discount on anything Simple Programmer, like for now or the future, that they can use.
John wrote a 7-page email. Oh, we're telling this whole story to our list, by the way, and we're going to basically relaunch the course with this email because hasn't been available for sale for a few weeks now. So we're gonna John wrote this ridiculously long 7-page email about this whole thing that we're gonna send out and do another short promotion. So I think we'll probably get another nice little bump in launch revenue off of that.
Exactly. Yeah. And as far as Bubba, I had a conversation with Bubba. Of course, I was pretty I wasn't really super pissed, but I was like, I'm gonna well, in my first reaction, and I told Josh, I was like, I'm just gonna publicly call him out on this. Like, this is messed up stuff, right? And but I haven't.
Well, I had just met with him. I had just met with him on Friday night, to talk about doing more courses together, and then I told Dan, who helped me do the marketing, and he was completely blown away. He's like, he was just lying to my face. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty blatant.
So I downloaded a Skype call recorder, right? And I'm like, all right. I emailed Bubba and I was like, hey, we need to talk. You got some time to talk over Skype. So, I get, so he says, he's acting, nothing obviously, right, is wrong in his book. And, oh, by the way, he had also a Slack channel and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Course. And I mean, this is serious levels of crazy. I can't even believe this. But anyway, so I get on the Skype call with him, and the very first thing I was like, can I record this, to use it for coaching, right? Because I get permission to record someone. So he said, yeah. So
we'll have to play this for. To keep it a coaching thing, we'll just play it for all of our future course authors.
I mean, I'll probably delete it, but anyway, so I was like, I started the conversation, and I'm like, hey, so I got this. I wanted you to vet someone for me. I got an email from this Tony guy, and he wants to do a course for us. And I give him the full name, and I was like, could you take a look? Have you ever heard of this guy? Do you think he's quality? He makes quality courses? And panic look on his trying to hold it together. And I'm like, he's like, yeah, I know that guy actually. He did a JavaScript course, and it's awesome. It's really good. And I was like, oh really? How good is it? He's like, well, I actually use that as the inspiration for my course. Like, oh really? I was like, how much inspiration? He's like, well, a lot of it. It's like, well, how much do you think that maybe you use it? He's like, well, maybe 80%. And I was like, wow, that's a lot. So did you just what do you mean? Did you copy it? He's like, no, I've copied it. And I was like, well, it's kind of funny because if I pulled up his course and I took the transcript of your course and I watched them, which I did. What would I think that it's word for word? He's like, yeah. And it's like, and then finally I was like, are we gonna keep playing this game or what? And finally he broke, and he's like apologetic and sorry, and like, I screwed up, man. He's like, and he explained, and in his world, I could see why he, like, to him, he just wanted to, and he explained, he's like, I wanted to work with you, John, and I wanted to make some money, and I loved this guy's course because it was an awesome course, so I wanted to have the same thing that he had, and and here was the content, and I loved the content, I loved the way that he taught it and stuff. So I understood, like, from a like, I could see his perspective. Not that I would, do something like that. And he said, "Yeah, I lied to you. I did," and he admitted it, and he came really clean. And I told him, and I guess I might as well say the amount, be straight up, because this does speak to his character. I said, I said, I basically saved you from getting your ass sued, because Tony had every right to, like, and I could, but I told him, I said, you gotta, we put money into this course, right? We're gonna have to refund people. Like, this is bad stuff for us. It's like, I'm not angry at you right now, but you need to pay us $3,000, right? And he said, all right, whatever I need to do to make up for it, whatever, right? And he did. He actually paid the $3,000 to us. So, and we hadn't paid him, right? It's not like he's refunded it. He just pulled it out of his pocket. So, I mean, that doesn't excuse, like, obviously what he did was very, 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 very wrong and not good at all. But that's the reason why I'm not using his name and why I'm not slandering him, because he did show at the last moment some shining character that I could appreciate, because my whole plan when I heard about this, I was like, man, this his name is going to be spread far and wide. Everyone is going to know about this, right? What happened? And I mean, I have to be transparent. I have to tell the story. I'm not going to hide the story, because that was the other thing that went through my head. I was like, why would you do this to me, knowing how transparent I get on a podcast literally every fucking week, and I tell my like the dirt, the bad, the good, and I do 2 YouTube videos a day. Like, I don't hide shit. I can't hide shit. That's my persona, right? So it's like, that was really dumb, but anyway, I can't, again, like I said, I can't, say that, condone what he did. He obviously made a big mistake, but we all make mistakes, right? I made mistakes in this whole thing. Like, I mean, I missed this. I could have vetted him. I could have watched the course better. I made a ton of mistakes. So anyway, that's why I'm not spreading his name far and wide. I mean, people can figure out his name if, obviously, but I'm not gonna say, like, horrible bad things about him. I'm gonna say that he did something wrong, and it was really wrong, but he made a mistake, and I think in my mind, he put his money where his mouth is. If he's writing me a check for $3,000 to make up for it, he's sincerely apologetic and sorry. I mean, he could have just walked away and been like, whatever. So that's the story.
Yeah. So we learned, John and I both had the same. It was funny because we had pretty similar reactions. So the first one was, as I was reading Tony's email, my first reaction was shock. My second reaction was relief, because now I didn't have to screw with these videos anymore. Because they were like, I mean, it had seriously eaten up hours of my time that week, and I was just fed up with it. And then the third reaction was, there's a big opportunity here. And so we both did that as, like, kind of that process. But then later afterwards, we both went through the exercise of, like, okay, this is my fault. What could I have done to try to, to prevent this? And, like, I didn't do any vetting either. I mean, I basically assumed, I did watch the demo video. I thought the demo video that he did was pretty decent. And then pretty much I just, like, left it at that, and assumed that he was going to be able to do, the quality of video editing and everything that we saw in the demo video. In hindsight, there were a whole bunch of warning signs that that should have triggered me. Like, for one thing, the fact that he had the transcripts, now I know why. He had transcripts. I was going to pay to have transcripts made, and he's like, oh, I've got transcripts of all the videos. And I was like, oh, and then I gave them to Aaron to compile them into an ebook format. and he went through it and he's like, man, there are so many errors in this. Like, I made the ebook for you. I haven't told you this part, John, but yeah, he's like, I made the ebook for you, but man, you guys need to have an editor look at this. There's like, so I think, yeah, he had like a really cheap, crappy transcript made for his, you know, his dramatic retelling. Yeah. And then like all the video, you know, all the issues with the video editing, and he also had made a comment about how, oh, I can't wait. We're going to sell thousands of these. Like, and Dan and I both heard that, and we were kind of like, I never said that. I wasn't expecting that we were going to sell out. And now I know why, because there are 75,000 subscribers on, or, you know, customers on Udemy. So like, that's where he was setting his expectations. And yeah, it was just, there were definitely warning signs. I'm still not 100% sure. I think what we're going to have to do is just make sure that we find people with really well-established reputations, and, you know, and vet the person, and then maybe I was thinking maybe even a demo process where that we make up some demo question that they can't like steal something from, and you know, and have them almost like a coding interview type of thing where we have them teach us something.
Or we can just have them watch this episode of Entreprogrammers.
Yeah.
Like if you even think of screwing us,
yes.
like you should know that you know what's that old thing, like burn me once, my fault, you know, twice, or whatever, or on shame on you, burn me twice, shame on me, or I don't remember the whole thing, but yeah, if it just as a public service announcement, if anyone else wants to attempt this, I will fucking bury you. Okay, this was the freebie, but I will fucking bury you if you try it. So
you have been threatened. I mean, warned.
Yes, so Derek, I think your webinar will be in good company with this course. I'm actually wanting to go. I watched a couple of the videos, and I want to go through the whole thing now, because JavaScript is the one programming language that I want to continue to. I would like to, you know, stay strong on, because I use it, and I'm actually thinking I might spend the 12 hours to go through the course, because it's actually really good.
Yeah.
So
we'll see. I mean, the email I think goes out tomorrow. I did a video on it as well. This is actually the most raw presentation of it on Entreprogrammers. In the video and in the email, I didn't talk about how crazy it was and the conversation I had with Bubba and stuff, because I'm being more. I don't want to sully his reputation as something that goes super wide. This doesn't go as wide, so it's you know, that's. But anyway, we'll see what happens. I think that we will get a positive response. Overall, I think that being transparent, I think we're going to get more honesty points and integrity points from our audience, because
Absolutely.
This is, you know, a story that most people wouldn't tell. It's embarrassing to some degree, but to me, it's like, no, this is the shit that happened, and this is a perfect Entrepreneur story, because this is the shit that you will face as an entrepreneur in business. I mean, crazy ass scenarios where you're like, how could someone do this? They will do it. and how you react is like, and that, but that was the biggest thing, is like, you know, and I, you know, I'll give myself a pat on the back, and Josh as well on this, is the turning the shit into shiitake, instead of like going like, oh, we're screwed, right? Like both of us were like, okay, how can we get this and make this good? And we did. And, you know, so I think the outcome will turn out good, but, you know,
tune in next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's funny because I pinged Rodrigo yesterday, and I'm like, Rodrigo, good news. I need you to re-edit those videos again, only this time there's 3 times more of them. he's like, what? And so I sent him John's email, and he pings me back like, he's like, I'm halfway through and I am completely riveted.
Nice.
It's funny too, because I sent the email draft to my wife to do some edits on, because she, you know, to fix grammar and stuff, and just to get her opinion on it. And she's like, I don't like it. It starts off really slow, and it's not like punchy like Josh's emails and stuff like that. And I was like, I don't care. Like, this is like, I have to tell this story as me. Like, it has to be coming from me 100%. And people need the background and all the details. This is not like an advertising promo, right? This is like, I'm being honest with you, down to earth, like this is what happened, and I made mistakes, and so it's interesting.
So, yeah,
Fun.
This has been kind of a stressful week on this front too, because we were going to talk about this on Monday, but I'd sent Tony over the deal like last week, and then we hadn't heard back from him for several days. And so we were like, oh gosh, is this going to fall apart now? And we're going to have to end up refunding all the money. And so, but
yep.
It all came together.
Yep. All right. Someone else tell something. I'm done storytelling.
I am in Seattle. I am at Microsoft Build again. And yeah, it's been kind of an interesting week. I have a stack. It was funny. I went through the expo floor and just talked to people. I probably have 10 or so companies that were all like, oh, as soon as I start talking about the podcast.
Oh, nice.
Oh, well, we could sponsor that. I'm like, sweet.
Nice.
So I'm working that angle. I'm a little curious, Josh, on one thing, since we have a few minutes before we go hit picks and stuff. When you reach out to people on LinkedIn, what are you actually sending them? Are you like personalizing a message to them, or?
Oh yeah. So basically, yeah, all I'm doing on LinkedIn is just looking to make a connection.
You just send them a generic connect?
No, I basically, what I do is I like go in and I'll add a personal note to every single one, and I'll be like, hey Rich, I saw the ad for XYZ you guys ran recently in JavaScript Weekly. Can we connect here? And I get like, yeah, that's it. And I'd have to go back and look at it, but it's 50 to 70% acceptance rate on those.
Okay.
And then as soon as they connect, basically I'm gonna have to do a video for Mike to show him how I'm doing this, because I've got a couple different like sort of pipelines that I've built in Trello. So what I have is I have the LinkedIn like warm up pipeline, which really all I'm trying to do is just get them to know who I am, send them a media kit. And well, first I want to find out who's the right person to talk to about sponsorships at this company. And then once I find that out, then I'll send them the media kit just to kind of get the conversation going. And then they'll go into my list and I'll keep in touch with them ongoing. Then I have a warm leads pipeline. Right. And that's where like I send them, first step is send them the media kit. Second step is get them to fill in the form that basically qualifies them. And then third step is like give them a quote. What I found is that most of the tools I've looked at only really give you that piece, and they don't really have the prospecting. Like, I don't want to shove people through this pipeline where I'm like, hi, I'm Josh, I'm over here on LinkedIn, and then like, now you're getting my media kit whether you want it or not, and it's like, and that's not really going to work because this is enterprise sales basically. So yeah, but so far, yeah, it seems like it's working. I haven't gotten any sponsorships yet from LinkedIn directly, but I've had several good conversations with people, and basically every week I pick out 3 companies and I just reach out to 3 more companies. And so I'm just going to do that every week and keep it rolling.
Yep. So I've been targeting some companies that I just, I know they've sponsored podcasts in the past, or I think would make a good fit, but I don't have, I don't have the, hey, I saw your ad in JavaScript Weekly. So, I don't know exactly what to send them. So I've just been like, hey, is there, can I introduce you to some people or help you out?
Another one that I do is, so just as far as the LinkedIn message that I send with the connection request is like, I'll look for who we might be connected to in common. And I'll say, hey, I was looking at your profile and I noticed that you're connected to John Sonmez, because literally almost everyone is connected to John on LinkedIn. So it's really easy copy and
paste.
Oh my
God. I'm getting like 80 LinkedIn requests per day now. It's crazy. I don't know what happened.
So yeah, so that's one. I mean, there's like, if you think about it, there's a few. It doesn't have to be, you just need like a reason. It doesn't even have to be really a great reason, but if you put like just a little reason in there.
So I'm overthinking it.
You're overthinking it. Yeah, you don't have to like, I wouldn't ask them for anything other than just to connect. Give them like some kind of excuse as to why you're reaching out, and so just so they can tell it that you didn't just go in and click connect on like 500 people, and that's really all you need to do. And then once they connect, I actually hired a guy on Fiverr who's pretty good at going in, and he can get work email addresses for. I'll give him like LinkedIn profiles. And then he's actually pretty good at finding the actual work addresses of people. So it's not just, you know, their Hotmail address that they send all their unwanted LinkedIn stuff to. It's I get their, like, you know, Telerik address or whatever.
And how do you reach out to them?
So then I basically I have a LinkedIn, I have a sequence in BlueTick that is a LinkedIn connection follow-up. And I basically go, hey, thanks for connecting with me over on LinkedIn. And then I say something, I forget exactly what I say, but basically I ask them, like, is there anybody, like, who's the best person to talk to at your company about sponsorships or advertising? And I leave it at that.
I mean, the people, if you give a LinkedIn profile and this guy finds you an email address, how do you reach out to them?
Oh, I only do that after they've accepted my LinkedIn request.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I'm just using him to get me better data.
Yeah.
Where I can actually,
info. Yeah. Okay. That helps clarify some stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, you could just cold email them too and skip the LinkedIn thing. But I feel like I feel like people seem to respond pretty well on LinkedIn, and it gives you a chance to get them to look at your profile. Like when you connect, they're going to probably check you out and they'll at least see your title, and, you know, they'll have some context for who you are.
Yeah.
And it makes the email follow-up, I think, a lot easier.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, yeah, and it also just, so you're not some random person now. You're someone that they just connected with on LinkedIn.
Yep.
So, all right. I've been trying to figure that piece out, and that helps. So, but yeah, I have the sequence in BlueTick for, hey, thanks for connecting with me on LinkedIn, and, you know, let me see what I can do to help you out, and that kind of thing. So,
one thing that I'm not going to tell you this. No, I have to now. So one email that I experimented with this week was I sent to 2 people that I'd been talking to about sponsorships. I basically sent them an email and said, hey, what can I, I'm taking a little informal poll, like, what can I do to make your life easier as someone who buys sponsorships and advertising? And they both responded really positively to that, and gave me some really useful insight into what they're thinking and what they value. And so I have some ideas now for how I can, like, things that I wouldn't have thought of at all, that I can incorporate into our process that make it a lot easier for them to say yes to us. So
that's such a great approach too, because it's that whole approach of, I'm not asking you for something, I'm asking you for advice. And that's that establishes the relationship better, because someone that asks for your advice and really takes it is someone that you probably want to do business with, and so that's the same. Like, it's funny because that's the approach I use for software developers, for, like, you know, you can ask to interview someone who's, you know, who could potentially hire you someday. And that's a great in. But yeah, I think that'll be really effective.
Yep. Cool. Yeah, I got a stack. It was so funny. I was just walking through the floor and just talking to people, and, you know, they find out how many listens we get to, and then I'm just talking to them, basically saying, look, you know, I am here. I'm looking for sponsors, and they're like, well, we're interested in sponsoring. I'm like, okay. And then I start talking to them about more than just having an ad in the show. And it's like, you know, maybe we could do a webinar and show off your product, or maybe we could, so I throw out like 4 or 5 other ideas. I'm like, we can totally work this into a package for you. And then they're getting all excited, right? Because they're envisioning people seeing what they do and understanding what they do and then wanting to buy. And then just in person, I don't know why, but like talking to people in person, it made things so much easier.
Yep.
So, yeah, it means I have to go to more events. But if they work out like this one has, I'll probably wind up making money every time I do it.
Sweet. There you go.
Yep, especially like for high ticket stuff, events are like when I was getting into copywriting, that's what everybody kept telling me is like, go freaking go. That's why I went to trafficking conversion the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, go to events. So, Derek, I want to hear about your webinar.
Yeah.
you keep like not being around. I've been wondering about it for like 3 or 4 weeks now, however long it's been.
Well, yeah, last week I was out because my parents were in town and we were replacing floors and a washing machine, which sounds horrible when I say replacing floors and a washing machine, because it sounds like the washing machine exploded all over a floor.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun to say it that way, but that's not what it was.
Well, actually, your water bed broke, and that
Yeah,
flooded the washing
right.
machine. And
Yeah.
But our washing machine legitimately did flood our kitchen and utility room, which sucked. But that's all ceramic tile, so it wasn't that big of a deal.
Right.
But the floors that were replaced were on this side of the house. I've got wood floor paneling in my office here, and then we replaced the hallway in my daughter's room, which finished off this side of the house. So that's why I was gone last week. The week before, I don't remember if I was. I don't remember what I was
the
doing.
trip. Was it the or was it? Was
Oh
the
yeah,
trip on-
yeah. The camping trip. I was packing for the Cub Scouts camping trip, which was hell. If hell is other people, the 7th level of hell is camping with other people's ADHD kids. That's I don't like the Cub Scout troop that we're in. My son loves them, and they love my son, and that's important. So I do. But the webinar itself went surprisingly well. For as little time as I was able to put into it, I was able to pull off what I think was a phenomenal webinar, getting people not only an easy way to actually learn new JavaScript features with complete safety, a complete sandbox around Node.js and Babel.js and new versions of whatever you want to deal with, but also getting people getting people an easy way to learn just how good Docker can be for developers.
Right.
And so I ended up selling 58 spots to that course, bringing in just over $1,500
Nice.
for it. So yeah, that was pretty awesome. And so this week I spent some time taking that launch sequence and putting it into an evergreen funnel inside of Drip, which I turned on yesterday. And I've got a post footer and a screen filler lightbox in Thrive Leads set up. And I've had 7 conversions on the screen filler lightbox so far, 0 on the post footer, which is not surprising. But I've got a blog post going out about this on Monday. The lead magnet for this is it's a question: learning ES6/ES7 and don't know which features are ready to be used. Get the 3-step guide, the 3-rule guide for knowing when you can use features and never wonder about that again. And so I put together a PDF, which this PDF came from the questions that I asked when I started the launch sequence for the webinar. And that was one of the first emails that I sent in the launch sequence. It was actually the second email that I sent in the launch sequence. And so I turned that email, which was an outline of 3 rules, how to evaluate whether or not a JavaScript feature is really ready for prime time or not, ready to be used. So I put that together as the PDF. So people, they put their email address into the Thrive Leads box, and they get that PDF sent to them. Then 2 days later, I'll send them a, how's that guide working out for you kind of follow-up email. And then 2 days or the next Monday after that, I start in on the full launch sequence with them, which starts out with, hey, a while back I sent out this great survey, and the results are actually where this 3 rules for learning features came from. So I give them some context about where that came from, and then I tell them a little bit more about the results that I got. And then in that email, I answer the question, what's the best place to find the latest and greatest JavaScript syntax and be able to learn this stuff easily. And so I, go through a few resources that I use for that. And then that starts into the whole launch sequence that I used for the actual webinar, which, it's going to take 3 weeks for me to figure out if the if the sales funnel still works, but it certainly worked for the actual webinar. There's still a few things I need to do as well, but I figure, hey, I've got 2 weeks to put the finishing touches on the sales page for this version of it, but no big deal. So no big deal. I'll be able to get that done in plenty of time. I need to go back into the sales page and change all of the wording that says things like, coming up on May 2nd, because it's past May 2nd. I need to change that kind of wording. I need to add a few more details for the actual topics that I cover in the webinar. And I can tell people very specifically, I'm covering Node version 7, Babel version 7, alpha build, and all these other things that I talk about, the different JavaScript language features that I show, and the core Docker stuff that I show, and whatnot, so that people have an even better idea of what they're going to get out of the actual video. But I think it's going to do well for me. The sales page itself, for the traffic that I sent to that sales page, it had an 8% conversion rate.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's really good.
Which was pretty dang amazing. So I was super duper happy about how well that page converted. It is by far the longest sales page I've ever written. But it needed to be.
Coincidence?
Because, yeah, exactly. But no, it needed to be long like that because there were a lot of objections that I knew people would bring up, especially around Docker. And I started seeing those objections when I sent out that initial survey. People responded to me because in the survey, I told them, hey, I'm going to do this thing on ES7 and Docker. What are your biggest concerns about learning ES7? And a lot of people said, I don't want to learn Docker. I just want to learn ES7. Mm-hmm. So I focused the sales message, really the sales argument portion of the page, around the no Docker experience necessary. And I really boiled Docker down to 3 simple commands. So when you go get the code from this webinar, you only have to run three things on the command line. There's npm run build, npm run ES7, and npm run ES7 shell. Those are the only 3 things that you really need to know. And no additional parameters required. Everything is configured for you inside of the npm scripts. Nice. So I focused the sales page around that message of you don't need to know Docker. I'm going to do Docker for you. You're just going to get the benefit of it.
Nice.
And it works. I sold a crap ton of seats for that webinar.
And Chuck, you mentioned the talking to people in person thing. So that, like, when you're dealing with people in person, you get all those objections out in the open, and but like what most people do is they just throw up their sales page, and then 6 months later they wonder why they haven't sold anything. Yeah. So Derek, it's awesome that you're able to figure out the objection, and that's the type of thing you have to know. Even if you do a survey, you kind of have to know what you're looking for. Mm-hmm. So kudos. That's great.
Yeah, it was kind of a big risk on this one, honestly, because the thought of doing this came out of the idea of that I was going to get a free ad in a JavaScript newsletter, which never panned out, which was fine. The guy offered it to me under certain circumstances, and I couldn't meet those circumstances, so no big deal. But I ended up deciding to run with the idea anyways because I thought it had value, and I think a big part of the value that it offered beyond what I already explained was showing people that Docker can be used to solve real problems that you currently have. It's not just this theoretical would be nice, could be cool if I use, but no, here's an actual situation that you're concerned with, and here's how Docker solves it for you.
this is a good exercise for your newfound copywriting skills too, because
Exactly.
you essentially you had to reframe this. You had to do the education portion. It wasn't like people are looking for this. You had to tell them, no, you actually do want this, even though you don't think you do.
Right.
So that's the fact that you got an 8% conversion on a sales page for something that is difficult, that you actually did have to reframe it totally. I think that is a good testament that you've got those chops.
Yeah, this is a big deal, I think, Derek, because you executed it really well. I think the other thing that you did here that's really good is the way that you got how you involved your audience in the process, and it wasn't just like coming up with an idea. It was like, you surveyed them, you knew what they wanted, you knew what the objections were, you framed it well.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So I got the core, the specifics of what I talked about out of that survey. I had the idea like, hey, I want to do, learning ES7 in this nice, safe way. But then the survey is what fed me the real specifics. Like everybody, like probably 50% of the respondents said async functions and generators.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the core content of the first emails that I sent out, was covering those topics. But I also included that in the actual webinar. And then there were some really key phrases in the responses that I got that I ended up using in the sales page as well as in the emails when people had legitimate concerns about, what if this feature changes in the future? Can I really start using it now with that kind of risk? And people asking about, should I be using TypeScript or Flow or just stick with, plain JavaScript?
The answer to all of those is yes.
Yeah, exactly. Which is really what I said in all of my emails. My answer to all of those questions and concerns is yes, but here.
Nice.
So yeah, that's kind of been the last 2-3 weeks of my life has been that webinar, and now trying to turn that into the evergreen sales funnel. And my allergies are killing me today. You can probably hear it in my voice, but I feel terrible right now. It's not fun. But I think in May, well, actually, I know in May, I'm not going to do a webinar. I need to get back to the ebook and start writing more blog posts. And I'm probably going to do another webinar in June, and I'm debating whether I want to do another core Docker webinar or find another problem that Docker can solve for people again. Because there are a few additional screencasts that I need to create for my Docker series, and there's a few additional webinars that I think would be awesome, especially around Dockerizing an existing application, things like that, getting into microservices with Docker. But lots of stuff to do, never ending. I need to focus on the book, blog posts, and finish up that last series of screencasts for the overall course before I do another webinar.
Nice. I have like 3 or 4 different stories I want to tell, but we're getting towards the end here.
I need to get going here.
So I'll just pick one. So we were at MicroConf, and John was talking to somebody. I can't remember who it was, but he was complaining about how he's like, man, it really burns me up. But on soft skills on Amazon, the #1 review is this 2-star review from this guy who he seems like he might have read the book, but he basically didn't really try any of it, and he just was saying that I'm like a scammy marketer, and he just tears into the book for it was seriously like about 1,000 words. It was pretty ridiculous, and it's like it's voted, of course, most helpful from a bunch of other developers who didn't read the book. And it's stuck there at the top, and you scroll down and you see 2 stars, scammy marketer, and John was like, yeah, it's really, so I was like, hey, I know what we can do about that. Why don't we send an email and ask people to take a look at the review? And if the Amazon has this feature where you can click not helpful if you don't agree with it. So we sent an email, and so we did this. I think was it yesterday?
Yeah,
it's
yesterday it
Friday.
went out.
Yeah, so it was
Yeah.
yesterday. I debated on how to. I was debating on how to segment it. I was thinking like, why don't I just send it to our top subscribers? Then I was like, screw it. I'm just gonna send it to everybody. So I sent it to like 42,000 people,
Hmm.
and so of course we catch flack for this.
Of course.
John gets,
Yeah.
John gets.
Not a huge amount. Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I was going to say not a huge amount. I mean, some of the people actually voted it helpful, right? And one person I think commented on it, and they're like, this is wrong what John did, like using his army to like downvote a legitimate view. And I was like, if the way he presented it made me sound like a real ass, but then I responded and I was like, look, it's perfectly valid for me to see to have a review that is actually what do you call it? Defamation and because the guy
did a troll review.
He did edit the review, but he outright called me in the first version of the review like a scam artist and huckster. Like, so they were so it was libel. It was actually libel, right? So so I said it's perfectly valid for me to say, hey, look at this review, and if you don't agree with it, mark it not helpful. If you you know. Because I didn't say we didn't say in the email. Josh didn't say downvote this. Let's get this. He said like if you read it and you don't agree with it, and which is totally valid.
Yeah.
But I'll say one thing though, Josh. This is what I was saying. But the same guy who commented that he made a valid point, which actually I would do this in the future because I think we did mess up a little bit here. What he said was it would have been more effective, John, instead of you like trying to downvote this guy's comment, if you sent the same email to your list and said and highlighted the comment, but said, could you leave, if you liked the book, leave a positive review if you liked it and you thought this comment was not reflective of the book. And I'll tell you why that would have been so much more effective, right? One, we would have not caught any flack for that.
Yeah,
right?
We would have gotten a bunch of reviews.
We would have gotten a bunch of extra reviews, right?
And people would have downvoted it anyway.
Exactly. And people would have downvoted it anyway. And no one would have upvoted it as helpful, or very few people. Yeah. So that, like, hindsight, I was like, oh, that guy was actually pretty smart. Like, that would have been that's the better. Yeah, so if we ever do this in the future, and for you guys too, if you ever do something like this, just, I guess what my answer would be is like, think about where you can get someone to do something without having to say it. Because if you just point them to the review and you ask them to do something else, to leave a positive review, they're going to think in their own head, oh, this is bullshit, I'm going to downvote this. But when you ask them to do it, then then it comes off as more orchestrated and whatnot. So
so that stupid thing had like 457 helpful votes. All right. Well, it's gone. It doesn't even
not
show
the top one. Yeah.
I freaking buried it. So the top one has like 5 helpful votes now. So now they're like all 4 and 5 star reviews at the top. So
nice.
That was kind of fun. But yeah, I think one person actually posted the email in a comment. I was like, So yeah, the one thing I would do differently would be, I was telling John this morning, I would go in concentric circles. So I should have done like, give me everyone in our database who has a lead score of over 1,000, right?
Right.
And then that would have been like 200 people, and I would have sent it to them. Then I would have gone, 800 and gone outward until I had it down where I needed it to be. But I wouldn't, that way it would have, because those people are not going to have a problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, so there is one counter to that. So I will tell you, like, I think that the approach I was talking about just not asking them to do the downvote, just asking them to leave a positive review would, and I'll tell you why, because the guy that posted the email, the biggest guy that was like, this is wrong.
Yep.
He responded to my response, and he basically said, by the way, just want everyone to know that I'm a huge fan of Simple Programmer and John Sonmez and the book and what he says in it, and he produces a lot of great content. So he was like he was actually a super fan, and he's like, and I don't even care. I mean, this one email isn't going to sway my opinion. I'm still going to consume all the content. I still love it, right? But I just thought this was wrong. So we still might have gotten some
Yeah.
So I would say just do the.
Who was he? I'll look him up.
Damn it, Bubba.
Damn it, Bubba.
Yeah, you can look
So-
if you go to if you find the review, the original reviewer, and you go to his review and you sort, you can see all the comments. Like there's a ton of comments now, but if you sort it, like you'll find his stuff in there. But
So that was Josh's fun for the week.
but good job, you did vary it, Josh. You did definitely vary it. So
All right, I gotta get going here. So
All right.
I don't
You'll
really
give us
have
a
a
quick
thought for the week.
for us?
I guess my thought for the week would be do the copy hour course.
JoshuaEarl.com/copy hour.
Which
You get a
I
kickback
should,
that way?
Or copyhour.com. Which
yeah,
is
I should probably
non-copy.
have an affiliate link for them at
Yeah.
this point, but oh well. Yeah. Do the copy hour course, and I'll see you guys next week.
All right. See you,
All right.
Derek.
Bye, Derek.
Copy hour is so great because it trains you to think like this. Like it's not even just it's not just the copywriting. And that's why I kind of, for new entrepreneurs, like copywriting is a skill that I really think is worth investing in, because even if you never write any copy, it trains you to think better about the people you're serving, what they want, how to present what you have, all that stuff. So
Yeah.
I guess my thought has to be turn shit into shiitake when you have the chance.
and also don't get those mixed up. So
Yes, shiitake
don't
mushrooms.
get it backwards. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, basically, like anytime that you've got I mean, there's almost always an opportunity. Like you can always look at things as bad. I mean, Josh and I could have been devastated by the thing. We've been like, oh, this is going to cost us money, our reputation, and all this. And if we would have done that, we would have missed the opportunity. And so if you look at, I mean, being a pessimist doesn't just harm you because it's a sad way to live your life and you feel bad all the time. But it harms you because it makes you miss the opportunity. If you're always looking for the way that this is a win, or the way that the universe is working to make all things be good for you, or if you're always looking for that and believe that you live a semi-charmed life. I mean, this is some people say, oh, that's crazy, but you know what? If you're always looking at the world and the bad things that happen to you from that way, you're gonna spot the opportunities that you would miss if you were the other way. So I would say that just, every time that something bad happens, like your immediate first thought after you, like, let the emotion pass, like you're going to be angry or upset or whatever. But as soon as that passes and let it go, the next thing you need to do is to say, how can I make this good? How can I make this better? How can I turn this into a good thing? And it's like judo. I mean, you can literally take bad things and you can use that force, and that's energy, and you can redirect that energy in a positive fashion. And you can't win all the time, but there's always something that you can do to at least, at the very least, when something bad happens, it could be a learning experience that you grow from and that builds your character or one. I mean, there's always some way to take the bad and turn it into good if you're looking for it.
Yeah.
I think I'll go with my thought here is you don't know anything. So one of the stories that I don't really have time to go into too much, we're doing we're testing the covers, our book covers, on Facebook, and both John and I had our favorites. We came up with about 10 different covers. We both had our favorites, and we had some interesting theories about which one we thought would win, based on marketing principles and stuff. And suffice to say, my favorite was An Early Casualty. It finished dead last in this poll that we did, and I just pulled the plug on it in the other testing that we're doing. So we just, it's fine to have some theories about what you think is going to work, but you got to hold them with an open hand, because there's a pretty good chance that you're just completely dead wrong.
Yep.
Interesting. I mean, my thoughts are just, so, I talked last week about, I guess it was this week. Anyway, I talked about the 100K in May thing, and I ran into some roadblocks, with reaching out over LinkedIn and stuff, because it was just like for one, they don't want you just reaching out to people like crazy, but at the same time, I wanted to make sure that I was doing the things that I needed to do in order to make it work. And so, just looking for the ways to make that work. Like, if you go out there and you set some crazy, insane goal, and then there's some hiccup, right? I couldn't get Gerald logged into LinkedIn to actually reach out to people either, because he's in Philippines and they have this security set up. This is a location you've never logged in from before, and I just couldn't get him the PIN numbers fast enough, and then they wouldn't work to get him in. And so, I'm finding other ways of doing this outreach, and, it's working out. I'm out there scrambling in other ways, and I'll probably keep working LinkedIn and doing some of the same things that Josh is doing. But, if there's not one way, then, find another. And, anyway, don't just give up on it because it's hard, but keep going and figuring out what it takes to make whatever you want to have happen.
Chuck, you might have already thought of this, but one thing I'm planning to do in my outreach is once I have established a bit of a relationship with somebody, ask them who else I should talk to, like referrals, because they all know, marketing people all know each other. So that might be an avenue that you could, like, is there anybody else I should talk to at some other company that you know?
Yeah, definitely.
And that's a really warm referral. So.
Yep.
Cool.
All right, guys. The next week, maybe we'll have a quorum again.
That was funny.
All right. Well,
all right.
You guys next week. Take care.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.